Hello, Kobo in Conversation listeners. This is producer Nathan Maharaj with a special episode recorded live at Ever After, the Toronto International Festival of Authors celebration of all things romance. This was recorded back in November of 2025, and though it deals with some extremely seasonal themes, we don't mind a little Christmas in July, and we thought you might be into it as well. I will just note the recording quality is a little uneven, so maybe think of this like a gift with a bit of a rough wrapping job. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's join my co-host, Michael Tamblyn, as he welcomes authors Marissa Stapley and Karma Brown, writing under their holiday romance pen names, Julia McKay and Kristine Winters, to the Ever After Romance Festival stage.
Hello, everyone. I am Michael Tamblyn, and my qualifications to moderate this panel are as follows. Number one, I did grow up on a Christmas tree farm. Number two, I did reunite with my long-lost love and her big city career while running a small-town bookstore. And so I am delighted to welcome you all to Snowflakes and Sparks as a part of the Ever After Romance Festival, presented by Kobo. It is November, and that means it's beginning to look a lot like our favorite season of the year, holiday romance novel season. It is time for men to unironically wear flannel shirts. It is and smell like trees. It's time for women to have existential career crises in small towns, and it is time for those small towns to all together conspire to bring them together. If you are like me, your TBR pile of holiday-themed fiction started to grow about October and shows no signs of slowing down. Everything tastes like cinnamon, everything smells like baking, and we love it. So, to amplify this holiday feeling, we've invited two masters of the holiday romance novel. In Julia McKay's Christmas at the Ranch, journalist Emery Oakes is desperate need to get away from her imploding life. When she gets stranded in the town where she spent her happiest teenage Christmases, she is gifted with a second chance and a handsome horse rancher. Please welcome Julia McKay, also known as Marissa Stapley. In Kristine Winters' The Christmas Cure, ER physician Libby Monroe returns to her hometown of Harmony Hills for a festive tree lighting ceremony and finds herself magically transported back to last Christmas. As she relives the past, Libby faces the chance to rewrite her future and a growing romance with a charming local baker. Please welcome Kristine Winters, also known as Karma Brown. To add an additional layer of pseudonyms, they are also each one half of the writing pen name Maggie Knox, responsible for the holiday romances All I Want for Christmas and The Holiday Swap. Romance fans don't even think twice about something like that. Oh, you have four names and you're half of two other names. It's like, nice, loved your work and loved your other work and loved your other work. There will be a chance for Q&A at the end. So if there's anything you need to know, you'll have a chance to ask it. But I will ask the first question for each of you. Aside from the time of year and the presence of snow, what sets a holiday romance apart from other kinds of romance novels?
Time of year? I might say just the explosion of Christmas traditions, like the food, and I know that's part of the time of year, but
it's okay.
The feed, the songs, the Christmas tree lightings, all of those traditions that many of us are nostalgic for. For me, anyway, that's what really sets it apart. It's an explosion.
Got it.
It's an explosion. And I think the food. I mean, even when we were writing together, I think we're both we like our food, right? So I find when I'm reading, it doesn't matter what kind of novel, if they're having dinner somewhere, I'm like, but what did they have? And I need to know what they had. So you can have a lot of fun with food and baking. I find that I like to add a little family drama into mine too, because it's the holidays, so you can't really avoid, like, half the time you're like, oh, the parents are somewhere, but at Christmas they kind of have to be around, or the difficult sibling, so I think that also helps. But I think the happy ending also is an explosion. It's like 25,000 times happier.
And it's Christmas.
So Christmas, isn't just a time and a place and a setting, it's also an amplifier.
It's a character.
Okay, excellent. It does seem like a genre with a really high bar. You have to hit certain notes. There are certain Christmas emotions. A question I'd love to hear from both of you on are there holiday tropes in storytelling that you just love, that you just lean into when you think about writing a holiday story?
Well, I think I really got addicted to the whole switching places thing with that. I remember Carmen was like, people love a swap. And I was like, okay. So I got really excited about doing that again and having best friends swap holidays. I don't know if that's necessarily Christmassy, but I also think that you remember like the sprinkling, like you're constantly layering, but I feel like we were like frosting and sprinkling layers of stuff. I think we even used that word. We're going back and forth. If we're going to frost all of the scenes and the characters. And yeah, a lot of Christmas.
So I wanted to spend a little bit of time in each of your most recent books that you have out right now. Karma, The Christmas Cure. Introduce us to Libby Monroe.
Okay, well, Libby, she goes by Elizabeth because she's Dr. Elizabeth Monroe, big city doctor in Toronto, and she's sort of just been on a gerbil wheel for however long it is that you need to be on a gerbil wheel when you're going into medicine. And she is going through a bit of a crisis with her career and with a relationship that has come to an end. And then she also finds out that her younger sister is suddenly, surprise, getting married at the Christmas tree lighting in this small town. So she has to go back to her small town where she has not been for a number of years and tries to go back as infrequently as possible. She loves her family and everything else, but as Marissa said, there's always some family drama, and she left for some reasons, and now she's got to go back and face all the change that people are going through that she wishes she had. And then she gets knocked off her feet by a very precocious pig named Mary Piggins, and ends up a year before and having to reevaluate what life looks like and where she wants to go next.
And Marissa, tell us a bit about Emery Oakes in Christmas at the Ranch.
So Emery, again, I think it's a bit of a trope that, they're always kind of at a crossroads and maybe their career is not what they hoped. She actually has a big family drama, which is that while she's on the treadmill at the gym watching CP24, she sees, as you do, she sees her dad has been arrested for financial fraud. And it's awful. It's just this horrible shock. But she realizes, people have lost their retirements. So she just kind of gets in the car. Her mom is like, we need to talk. And imagine like Emily Gilmore is, after you, and she was like, I don't want to talk. So she just gets in the car and just starts driving, and ends up realizing she's driving towards the one place she was ever happy at the holidays, which is this little town called Evergreen. Her family rented this giant cottage there one year. She was 18. She fell in love with this guy, Tate, who happens to be a hot a rancher. And we see her kind of going back through her journals and reliving that young love while being back in this town where Tate lives. And their second chance romance has got millions of challenges.
And so, Karma, what makes Elizabeth, a perfect holiday female main character? Like, what are the things that she's bringing into the story that allow that all to pivot around her?
Well, she's the she has made this choice in her life where she thinks that this is the life she wants to lead. She left her small town behind and is one of these, like they are obsessed in Harmony Hills with every holiday, not just Christmas. And so feels like she's moved on from that. But when she gets this call that her younger sister is suddenly surprised getting married, she is then forced back into this small town where then she has to reevaluate everything again, as you do in a holiday rom-com. This is critical. There has to be this journey back so that you can reevaluate your life. And she's able to see her small town through the eyes of this love interest, Liam, who she meets when she's there, and see the things that he appreciates about it that she maybe just didn't see before. So it's a second chance, but not second chance love. It's sort of second chance for her to see if this is the life that she wants to lead, or if maybe there's something that she missed and she gets a chance to see that again. So she is at a crossroads. That's why it's a perfect time for her to go home and get in with the tree lighting and the gingerbread baking and the chili contests and all the things that are happening in Harmony Hills, which happen every year, of course. If only we could visit these places.
And let's talk about Liam for a second. I mean, we all love a baker. We all love a second chance baker. And so what makes him the perfect male main character for a holiday romance?
Well, he is flawless. And I actually had he is. And I had discussions with my editors about making him too flawless. And I was like, no, he's golden retriever energy. He's all green flags. He's figured out who he is, and this is what she needs to see. So he doesn't like breakfast food. This is his flaw. So yeah, he is. He's the perfect man. And I didn't need to give, well, yeah, if you don't like pancakes, I don't know. But yeah, he's the perfect person to show Libby what she has left behind, because he's moved back to this town. He's a baker. He can't bake, but he owns this bakery. Yep. Marissa and I learned, you need to have a bakery, and sourdough in particular is critical to any holiday rom-com. It's necessary for small towns to have a bakery, right? So, yes. Yeah.
Important. And so in Emery's case, she's also coming back to, the place that was sort of pivotal to her young life. What are the qualities that she's bringing to this that make her the perfect holiday female main character?
So she's emotionally protective, and I think she's sort of guarding her heart. And it's Christmas, and it's explosion of love time, and it's talk about your feelings time. So I think she's kind of that perfect character to go on that journey where she's like, I'm going to protect myself. And she really can't do that. She can't do that in Evergreen for so many reasons. Partly because even though she wants to protect her emotions, she has gone to the place where she knows, part of her heart lives. So she's in this place. And I think really I loved watching her become less and less afraid, because I think love is so scary. I was talking to Karma about my 18-year-old son. I'm sure he'd love if I was talking about this, but he has his first girlfriend, and I see the way he tries to protect his heart, and I'm like, God, it is so scary at any age, but it's so beautiful. And
let's all discuss him. And
let's talk about. He would be very happy to hear this happen. Yeah,
it's scary, but.
And so she meets or re-meets the rancher. Tell me a little bit about him.
Oh, I love him. I think he's perfect too. I was a horseback rider as a kid, and still go every year with my daughter. So I love his love of animals. I love his smoky smelling flannel. And I just, and he also is, feeling guarded. But I think it's because I love the idea of fate and soulmates and kismet. They actually are. Oh, well, obviously there'll be a happy ending, so spoiler alert, made for each other. But yeah, I loved to kind of being able to see him at 18, just kind of sitting there, having had a tough year and drinking a beer by a bonfire and sort of borderline being that bad guy we all really kind of well, I anyway really liked that as a teenager. And then seeing him, as this great guy living in this cabin that he'd built himself in the middle of the woods and riding horses. And I like him, yeah.
Are there things from your own past, from your own experience around the holidays that you pulled into this? Or have pulled into other of the holiday works that you put out?
Oh, yeah. Like, we mind our past for sure. I think that every tradition I have ever had, a version of that is in one of the books. I think because those are also the things that you're nostalgic for. And this is one of the fun things about writing holiday romance is that the holidays is like this amazing time, but it's also such a hard time because it's stressful and there's a lot of expectation and pressure. But when you can live in that world and just have it be the fun stuff, those memories that you have, or the traditions, or the songs that you sang as a family, that it's fun to do that.
Yeah.
My dad always plays the small one, the Bing Crosby story, which I would highly recommend. And I think it's on Spotify now, like everything. So I did put that in. Yeah, you're right. You do just kind of mine your past. But something that my characters do in this novel is they have a Christmas Eve fondue. And now I'm like, do we need to have a Christmas? I might need to.
We used to do that. Yeah, we had a Christmas, that was one of our traditions. So I think that's a good one. Cheese.
I do load up on cheese.
Melted cheese is, you can never go wrong with that.
As someone who also experienced Christmas fondues, I can say that boiling oil in flames is maybe not always the way to start the Christmas holiday.
Cheese. Stick with the cheese.
Stick with cheese.
Yeah.
So I'll go out on a limb with both of the books that you've been talking about and say that the setting, the town, the place you come back to really matters as a character in itself. Does setting come before story, or does setting emerge from story for you?
Well, I mean, this book actually was let's see if I can take a book that I wrote years and years and years ago that I didn't sell, and I can take that character in that town and turn it into a Christmas rom-com.
Right.
So for me, the setting, it is very different, but that small town, I love the small town trope. Like, that is probably one of my favorites. So it was always going to be a small town. So that probably came first. But Libby was very clear to me in her hospital, trying to get some food and putting this extra bacon on her sandwich, and not knowing that she was going to go meet this potbelly pig who would become such a big part of her life, and then feel guilty about eating bacon for the rest of her time. So yeah, it kind of came, it was like they were a package deal for me.
I don't know. Can you have a Christmas romance novel without a snowy small town? I guess, but
there are some like New York.
There are signs. I've never. So I am always like, even with the holiday honeymoon switch, where one of them was in Hawaii, the other one was in a snowy small town in the Hudson Valley. I got excited about this setting possibly almost first. My daughter had kind of floated a second chance romance with a rancher guy to me. And then we recently got a cottage in Halliburton, and kind of do have this quirky cottage small town. So I really wanted to make it very similar to our cottage town. So I think that for the first time, maybe they were both taking shape together as opposed to having the story and then figuring out the setting after.
As you've both touched on, Christmas fiction so often has that theme of reevaluating your own life, taking stock, making big changes. Why is holiday romance such a good canvas for asking the question, what am I going to do with my life?
I think because you tend to be coming home, right? Like you're off
At the end of her year, it's like this natural transition to the next phase, the next year. It's sort of like an evaluation of the year. But yeah, and then you come to come home and family's there, and there's like always a little bit of drama or just that like excitement about Christmas. Like my mom is freaking out about Christmas already because she's so excited to have everyone come back. But then what are we going to eat? And I'm like, Mom, it's the beginning of November. Well, that's not now, I guess, but
we're going to eat cheese.
We're going to have cheese, Mom. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I think too, you're supposed to be happy, right? Like it's supposed to be happy. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and it's always so complicated. So it's such fertile ground to create stories like this.
Is there, I mean, there's also that you can't go home again piece of the people that knew you when you were young, the people that knew you before you went off to the big city are there waiting for you to kind of reevaluate your life with you. So is there a little bit like the mechanisms are all there to make you look in the mirror?
Well, yeah, because you are the version of yourself. Like when Libby goes back to Harmony Hill, she's 18-year-old Libby who left, even though she's been, her 30-year-old Elizabeth for some time. Like going back, just automatically, everyone knows her as the Libby that she was when she was growing up in that town. And I think that's true with our families too. It's like, there's a version of you that lives in your house with your family, in that town that you grew up in, with your traditions, and so you do go back to that.
I think for each of you, your first holiday romance was when you teamed up as Maggie Knox. Your pen name for your two co-written books, All I Want for Christmas and The Holiday Swap. Tell me about how that came together. How did the two of you decide that you were going to go into this and start getting deep into the holidays?
This is our first time ever talking about this in front of like an audience because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And so we never did an event together. We did it on Zoom, of course. Everything was on Zoom. But
it was COVID, and isn't it funny, by the way? People are like, please don't mention COVID in these happy books. Like if I even glance at it, like nope. But it was the depths of COVID, and I was like, everything's gonna be fine, and Karma was like, it's not fine. Everything is not fine. But I know what we should do. We should like co-author a really happy Christmas novel because that's what everybody wants. They want to think about Christmas next year.
and we like Hallmark movies, and it was like we were writing different things, and we wanted something that felt sweet and nostalgic, and that we could just have. We'd never really written romance at all. Like there's romance themes in our books, but and so we just thought, well, why not? And then it turned out to be the perfect time because all the editors were sitting at home with everybody else, longing for something fun and sweet to come through their inbox. And so it just, I don't know, did we vote 100 pages in a proposal? And then
I think, and it was fun, right? Like it was sweet and cute, and we could just have, like, those reels that you see that's like the sort of, here are all the tropes. But we did that, and we had a list. You had a list. Do this. It was fun. And also because of the way we write, and I like to think we both write with a certain amount of emotional depth no matter what we're writing. So we still, we did have to say a few times, no, especially with the second one, we can't, this is not sad.
we get a little pleasure. I mean, maybe it was COVID, it was getting to us too, but we had to keep reminding ourselves this is not a sad book.
You sort of tapped your emotional reserves with the
You're
first
to
one.
bring it, let's just bring that down and bring up the juror a little bit more.
And I want to go back to that list though. So you're really approaching a new genre and a new style for the first time. Between the two of you, how do you tackle that? How do you decide, okay, how are we going to kind of navigate our way through this story?
We kind of started with we were like hot firefighter. We just, we're like, okay, maybe a doctor, and then we're like, oh,
And then the rescue dog, there has to be,
always an animal. But I think
And
there was
the
a
bakery.
cat in that one. Was there a dog too? Oh, he had a dog.
He had a little dog. He had a dog. And then Marissa got super into sourdough during COVID.
I also, everyone else.
Size.
Okay.
It was deep. And so we're like, well, we'll put the sourdough in.
So maybe we swap out the firefighter and just have the sourdough, as the main character.
Yeah, it was, it's a bit hard to remember really because it was a little.
We're like, what did we want? And I think I had a friend, a single friend who had just started dating. I was like, I have a friend who's dating a hot firefighter. I'm going over there right now. And then I was like, oh, okay. She told me all this stuff, and I was like, does he sometimes wear his firefighter hat?
But he did. Our books are low spice, they are no spice, and that was a time where spice wasn't as big as it is right now. So Yeah, we just sort of figured out what we liked and then what we wanted to put in, and it was we had a list we started with, and then we just added. I think there was a dog and a cat. Didn't we put both in? Because I had a dog and you had a cat, and we were trying to, balance.
You got to cover all the bases.
You do.
Okay.
I think it was just like, let's do this, let's do that, and anything kind of went, and it just all worked.
Talking to you both at length about just this one genre and this like very specific subgenre feels odd because you are both such seasoned genre hoppers. Like, whether it's thrillers or fiction or nonfiction or, modern non-holiday romance or rock and roll star-crossed lovers, like you do a lot across a lot of different areas. When you're up here talking holiday romance, does it feel like you're neglecting the rest of the books on the shelf?
No, isn't that a little freeing? I was thinking about that the other day, thinking about this event. Like, we do genre hop, and I think sometimes the publisher's like,
I should have that literally as my genre hopping character, Karma Brown.
I think it's a little bit of a relief. Like, I find with the Julia McKay books, because the books are complex and hard in their own complex way, but at least you're not actually genre hopping. Like, I'm not going to sit down and go, you're like, I'm doing horror now. Like, I'm doing horror, so you are, yeah. So I really am just
continuing this trend.
So it's a bit freeing to just know where you're heading, and it's that happy ending, probably on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning, with the explosion of joy, it's weirdly freeing to get to do the same thing over and over, which sounds kind of odd because you'd think it wouldn't be.
Yeah, and I think I like the holiday romance. I think that I have not written romance, I've written holiday romance, and I think that's because I like holiday romance. I like the Christmas aspect of it. That's really what is my hook for me to be interested in what I'm writing. But I also am curious about so many other things. I don't understand how to stick in one genre. I mean, maybe I should, I don't know. But I feel like it's just more fun to try different things.
Well, it was leading me to a question of when you're in a genre for a little while, do you feel like you've built up some momentum or you've got like sort of tools that come easily to hand? Or do you get restless and it's like, okay, this has been great, but now I got to go and try something else?
I have bad news, which is that I'm now on my however many Christmas novel romance, and it's just getting harder.
Yeah, no, I don't think it gets easier.
Okay, it gets hard. Yeah.
No, I think every book is hard in a different way. I know there's this idea out there that the sophomore novel, the second book, is the hardest one you ever write. That's not true. They're all hard.
They surprise you.
They
every
do.
once in a while.
But I found this one actually pretty tricky because there's this time travel element, which I might recommend not doing, because I think we went into so many rounds of edits because it was like, wait, where is she when? And what's happening here? And how can this be true if this is where she is? Like, it got really complicated.
And this is where you end up with like the diagram that's
Basically, yeah.
Well, considering when we wrote, I think the holiday, we could not figure out what day of the week.
That was fun too, because we were swapping between the locations and the identical twins, and so it is. Every book is hard.
And now you've both struck out under individual pen names to write more Christmas romances. So, like, did you break up the band? Like, were we ever hear from Maggie Knox again?
So Maggie Knox is retired, living in Fiji and having a lovely time, where it's Christmas with palm trees.
Congratulations.
We did this over COVID, and we never wrote in the same room. We never saw each other during that time. We didn't do a single event together. But we both have other books, and it is and lives, and like children, and it's very complicated. Co-writing is very complicated, right? So it just, right? It's hard.
Well, yeah.
To make it work.
And I think scheduling is challenging. So I think we always thought we would just do one, the Maggie Knox, and then I think I was like, let's take a 2-book deal, and then we knew that was kind of it. Like, we were just kind of going for it. So yeah.
As you were first getting into the genre, were there authors that you read or stories that really hooked you that, either before you were getting ready to write your own or as you were working along?
I think we were pretty inspired by Hallmark movies. It was when you're wrapping the presents, or maybe when you're editing and you have a Hallmark movie on in the background. And I think that when we decided on the holiday swap, it was like, okay, we wanted to do a Hallmark cozy book. And I really think that's what inspired us initially, more than a particular author or a particular holiday rom-com.
Yes, I think because we kind of both agreed, like when you do, I'm sure you do it every year, I get so excited to put on those movies and start wrapping presents. I'm so excited about that one where the person dresses as Santa. There's some holiday rom-com movie coming out where she's Santa at a ski resort, and her love interest doesn't know that she's Santa. It's kind of like a Christmas Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
really? But I have to save them. So I think those are the ones that it's exciting.
I wish there's a Pickleball Christmas one out. Oh, really? Yeah, I missed Hot Frosty last year. That was last year's big one. Did you see Hot Frosty?
No, because I heard it was not very good. But then I thought, what is not very good?
Who's seen Hot Frosty?
Okay,
wait, that's perfect. Right, okay, well then that's great. Hot Frosty.
So you've just changed the channel entirely. You're going from holiday to horror.
Yeah.
And does that just feel like a nice, easy transition to make? Or
I wrote them at the same time. So
whoa, okay.
I was like, today is holiday rom-com, and then the next day is horror. It was fine. I don't know. It was fun to flip back and forth. It was not that hard to flip back and forth. I don't know.
Okay.
I think because we both went to journalism school, and that was something where we have this training, I think, where you sit down but writing what you're writing that day. Sometimes you're doing a profile on a woman who's taking a job as Santa to pay for her child's snowboarding, and
I think he did answer something that I'd never been able to figure out. That might be why.
I think it's why.
It's just the training.
Karma, Marissa, Kristine, Julia, Maggie, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
That was Michael Tamblyn in conversation at the Ever After Romance Festival back in November 2025 with authors Julia McKay and Kristine Winters, better known as Marissa Stapley and Karma Brown. This episode of Kobo in Conversation was produced by me, Nathan Maharaj, with a whole lot of help from the Toronto International Festival of Authors. Happy summer reading, whatever you're reading, and hey, check out our new Kobo in Conversation reading challenge on Storygraph. There's a link that'll get you there right in the show notes. Thanks for listening.